The morning began quietly, with the soft hum of a new day slipping through the small town. The world seemed peaceful, yet underneath that calm life was moving in ways no one could predict. Some houses sat empty, not because they had no inhabitants, but because the people who belonged there never truly stayed. Life, after all, is more than mere presence. It's about connection, attention, and care. And in one little corner of this town, a story was about to unfold that would remind everyone of that truth. A small child wandered down a narrow street, eyes wide with curiosity and a heart filled with questions. Every sound, every shadow seemed alive. He wasn't just lost physically, he was lost in the vastness of the world itself. But fear, as it often does, slowly faded when patience stayed by his side. There was an elderly man, a kind soul who offered a quiet presence, and a robot with gentle movements, watching, learning, and protecting. Together, they were guardians in ways that went beyond rules and machines. They were guardians of hope. The child's journey took him to the bustling market, where colors and smells intertwined into a tapestry of life. The robot walked close, its sensors observing every movement, ensuring the little one remained safe. At first, the people around them seemed wary. Eyes followed, whispers floated. But kindness has a language of its own, and soon the crowd softened, letting a fragile trust bloom. A lesson here was simple, yet profound. Sometimes being present and offering care is far more powerful than perfect intentions. Life, it seemed, had a way of testing courage in small moments. A plant in the soil needed careful hands, just as a child needed patience and attention. One could guide, encourage, and be there not perfectly, but completely. The little one's eyes sparkled as he learned small tasks, celebrated small victories, and began to understand that he was not alone. And while the market offered knowledge, the heart offered something even more essential: belonging. Throughout the day, small gestures accumulated into something extraordinary. Warm tea handed over with gentle care, soft reassurances whispered in moments of doubt, and the embrace of someone who simply promised, "I will always be by your side." These were not grand acts, but they were acts of devotion that built trust, safety, and love. In this world of hurried judgments and fleeting attention, such gestures shone like beacons. Even when the child's real family was absent, he was surrounded by those who refused to let him feel alone. And then came the moment of reunion. A father appeared, guided by worry and the hope of finding his child safe. The smallest hug became a bridge across fear, loneliness, and uncertainty. In that embrace, old wounds found their first healing touch. A warm jacket was handed over, not just as protection from the cold, but as a symbol of care, understanding, and the promise of better days ahead. The town, the robot, and the child all witnessed the quiet power of devotion, realizing that the true miracle wasn't in technology, but in the hearts willing to care for one another. Even the robot, designed for tasks and efficiency, showed what mattered most was not circuitry or programming, but choice. She chose to protect, nurture, and stand by the child's side, proving that love can be coded, but only when expressed through action. People were amazed, not by the machine, but by her decisions, by her loyalty, and by the courage to act in a world that often values convenience over compassion. Through each small moment, pouring tea, guiding hands, protecting from falls, the story reminded everyone watching that family is more than biology. It is built from patience, presence, and unwavering support. The robot and the child, together with those who cared, created a family that was chosen, not assigned, and that choice carried a weight far greater than any technological marvel. As the day came to a close, laughter echoed through the streets. The child, once uncertain and afraid, now ran freely, exploring the world with newfound confidence. The robot walked beside him, a silent guardian, and the town watched, hearts warmed by a lesson often overlooked. The greatest upgrades in life are not in gadgets or machines, but in our ability to care, to stay, and to love unconditionally. And so, the story ends, not with a dramatic showdown, but with quiet victories, hands held, hearts connected. And a small child who learned that he didn't need perfection, he just needed presence, patience, and people who chose to be there. In the end, it wasn't about the home he lived in, the technology surrounding him, the challenges he faced. It was about the love that stayed when everything else changed, and that above all is what builds families, strengthens communities, and reminds us all why kindness matters.